Did SBF destroy confidence in crypto? Hey there, welcome back to our channel where we dive into the latest developments in the crypto world. In today's video, we'll talk about SBF, the CEO of the FTX exchange, and whether or not he's destroyed confidence in the crypto community. Sam Bankman-Fried quickly became a superstar as the head of the cryptocurrency exchange FTX. He's been dubbed the savior of crypto, the newest force in democratic politics, and the world's first trillionaire. People have mixed feelings about 30-year-old Bankman-Fried after FTX filed for bankruptcy protection. His investors and customers feel like they were tricked, and many people in the crypto world are afraid of what will happen next. The SEC complaint says that Bankman-Fried committed years-long fraud by moving customers' money from FTX to his crypto trading firm Alameda Research. These charges point to the fact that FTX has received more than $1.8 billion from equity investors since 2019, including $1.1 billion from investors in the US. This is important for establishing the SEC's jurisdiction since the main FTX exchange couldn't operate in the US. The CFTC complaint says, like the SEC, that the fraud was there from the beginning. It also describes SBF's communications within FTX and Alameda and accuses him of committing commodities fraud through omissions and misrepresentations. According to the SEC's complaint, FTX was a scam. From the beginning of FTX, Bankman-Fried diverted FTX customer funds to Alameda, and he continued to do so until FTX collapsed in November 2022. The SEC said that SBF borrowed more than $1.338 billion from Alameda and used customer money for investments, real estate, and political donations. It also says that fellow FTX founders Nishad Singh and Gary Wang borrowed $554 million and $224.7 million, respectively. The CFTC filing says that SBF and others at FTX also used those funds to buy private jets. The accusations against SBF also center on what he told investors. FTX was a safe place to invest because it had an automated risk engine that sold off a customer's assets to ensure their collateral stayed at the required levels. The SEC says that he didn't tell investors or customers that Alameda Research had special access to FTX funds that let it avoid auto-liquidation backstops and keep an unlimited negative balance with FTX so it could use customers' deposited funds to trade. This unlimited negative balance only caused problems once the price of cryptocurrencies dropped, which made lenders ask Alameda to pay back what they owed. The SEC says that SBF told the firm to pay them with money from FTX while hiding the billions of dollars Alameda now owe to FTX for its line of credit and continuing to take out hundreds of millions of dollars for himself and other executives. According to the CFTC's accusation, the government says that when Alameda reached a preset borrowing limit, SBF told employees to raise the limit to a level that would be hard to reach again. Sam Bankman-Fried, the disgraced founder of the now defunct cryptocurrency exchange FTX and trading firm Alameda Research, apologized to staff in a letter that explained a drop in collateral from $60 billion to $9 billion. "I didn't mean for any of this to happen, and I'd give anything to be able to go back and do things over again," he wrote in a message to employees sent and obtained by Bloomberg News. He said a drop in digital asset markets in the spring cut collateral to $30 billion, while liabilities were $2 billion. He wrote that a credit squeeze, more sales of virtual coins, and a run on the bank left FTX's collateral at $9 billion before it filed for bankruptcy on November the 11th. He said the estimate of liabilities had reached $8 billion by then. Bankman-Fried said, "I didn't know the full extent of the margin position, and I didn't know how big the risk of a hyper-correlated crash was." He didn't give exact details about the collateral or the debts. FTX and Alameda Research, once important parts of the crypto market, have fallen apart quickly this month. Money flows between the many FTX-related entities are the key to determining if the exchange stole customer funds. So far, the bankruptcy proceedings have painted a picture of a business with unusually lax documentation and financial controls. For example, payment requests were approved by emojis in chat rooms, and FTX funds were used to buy homes and other personal items for employees and advisors. Bankman-Fried wrote that potential interest in billions of dollars of funding came in about 8 minutes after I signed the Chapter 11 documents. He said that could have helped save FTX and brought large value back to customers, but the court documents show that the company was in disarray and had many problems. Lawyers for former FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried in federal court have asked for more time to file a proposal related to his bail conditions. In a document filed on February 24th with the United States District Court for the Southern District of New York, Mark Cohen of Cohen & Gressler said that the legal team needed until March the 3rd to file a proposal for additional bail conditions for Bankman-Fried Bankman-Fried and find a suitable candidate to act as a technical expert in the case. After a hearing on February 16th about the former FTX CEO's use of a virtual private network, or VPN, the lawyers agreed to hire an expert. The parties have been carefully vetting candidates to serve as the court's technical consultant, but haven't yet found a good candidate, the filing said. Similarly, the parties have been having productive talks about additional bail conditions for Mr. Bankman-Fried, but they'd like more time to finish these talks. The government has no objections to this request. The parties agree that Mr. Bankman's bail conditions should be maintained as long as the court deems it necessary while these negotiations are ongoing. Bankman-Fried was the king of crypto, and his influence started spreading into politics and pop culture. Formula One racing was one of the big sports teams that FTX sponsored. They also bought the naming rights to an arena in Miami and ran ads during the Super Bowl with Seinfeld creator Larry David. He promised to give $1 billion to the Democrats in this election cycle. He gave tens of millions of dollars, and well-known politicians like Bill Clinton were asked to speak at FTX conferences. Tom Brady, a football player, and Gisele Bündchen, a supermodel who will soon be his ex-wife, put money into FTX. Bankman-Fried was also beginning to use his money to get his way in the media. He was one of the first investors in Semaphore, a new startup run by Ben Smith, who used to be the editor-in-chief of BuzzFeed and now writes for the New York Times. He also gave $5 million to ProPublica, a news site that does research. Before FTX fell apart, some people had bad things to say about Bankman-Fried. Even though he ran FTX mostly outside of US law from its headquarters in the Bahamas, Bankman-Fried spoke more and more about the need for the cryptocurrency industry to be more regulated. Many people who like crypto don't want the government to watch over it. The fall of FTX might have made a case for stricter rules. Changpeng Zhao, the founder and CEO of Binance, was one of those who didn't like it. The fight between the two billionaires reached Twitter, where Zhao and Bankman-Fried had millions of followers. Zhao started the withdrawals that killed FTX when he said that Binance would sell the crypto token FTT it owned from FTX. SBF made a series of controversial tweets that caused a stir in the crypto world. He claimed that he'd purchased a large amount of a particular cryptocurrency, causing the price to surge. He then announced that he'd sold his entire position, causing the price to plummet. Many in the community felt that SBF had manipulated the market and acted unethically. Some even accused him of intentionally using his platform and influence to harm other investors. In response to the backlash, SBF claimed that he was simply making a joke and didn't intend to cause harm to anyone. He also argued that his actions didn't violate any laws or regulations. However, this response did little to calm the fears of many in the crypto community. Some felt that SBF had acted recklessly and that his behavior had damaged the reputation of crypto as a whole. The incident involving SBF has led to a wider debate about the role of influencers in the crypto community. Many question whether these figures should greatly impact the market and whether their actions can be ethical. Furthermore, some are worried that incidents like this could lead to increased crypto market regulation. They fear governments and financial institutions will use incidents like this to justify greater control over the industry. The incident involving SBF has caused much concern in the crypto community. Many are worried about the impact of influencers and whether their actions can be considered ethical. It remains to be seen how this incident will impact the industry as a whole, but one thing is for sure, it sparked an important conversation about the future of crypto. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.